Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Alyssa. I'm an artist, and yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the comments that you guys left last few videos type thing. It's so lovely to be able to find out, you know, your thoughts about art and what you've been doing and all that sort of stuff, and just, yeah, creates a sense of a real community. And just in that, a couple of people mentioned different artists in the chat, and one of those was Chagall, and he is literally one of my all-time favorite artists, and it just led me to really thinking about his life and looking at his art and his life a little bit deeper again. And it's just been such a fascinating little ride for me. Like I show you, first of all, I show in the video just a couple of books we flipped through. This one is, I've had this for decades, literally. Like my parents, back in the 80s, when I was a kid, they collected these for me. They used to come every month or every week or something at the newsagents, and they came in this binder, if you can see it. And they're just precious. I have the whole set. Some of them got water damaged over the years, but never mind. And also I've taken the books out, the little magazines out of the ones that were my favorites, ones like Van Gogh and Gauguin and Chagall and the like. But anyway, I've used them just all throughout when I was an art teacher, and just I've used them so much. So I flicked through this one, and I also have this book. So it's not paintings by Chagall, but the whole picture book is inspired by Chagall's life and his art, and it's absolutely delightful. I really love children's book illustrations. Like, they just there's something so sweet and whimsical about them. So yeah, I really enjoyed these pictures as well. So I'll show you this book. And as well as that, I did a journaling activity where I found a quote of Chagall's that it sort of perplexed me. It made me want to just unpack it a little bit deeper. So I started a journaling activity around that, and yeah, I'll show you that as well as other little bits and bobs. Like I got some prints made, and I finished a couple of paintings, and just at the tail end of my painting. So these two down here, I wonder if I can show you. So it's this one, so you get an idea of the size of it. And the one I started in my last video on the dreams of the horses, I finished that one. So yeah, it's always a little bit of back and forth with that, getting things right and not overworking it. It's always really hard to not overwork things, I find. So that's sort of been a bit about what this video is. It's a bit of a conglomerate of bits and pieces, and I really hope you enjoy. I hope that it can give you some inspiration. I think that I've been thinking a lot about the imagination and inspiration, and where we find the things that we connect to, that give us things that we find that connect us even more to our creativity, and those things are really precious. I really wanted to talk about George MacDonald's fantasy novels, but I didn't have time. I felt like it would just be too long a video, but I think I'm going to do that in the future, because George MacDonald wrote so many, I can't think of another word apart from that they're pretty trippy. Like, they're really fantastical, and they've just nourished my imagination anyway. And I think it was Yeah, his books were originally illustrated by Arthur Hughes, and his illustrations, I think they're prints that he does, but I've always loved them. They've just given me a lot of inspiration. Anyway, Stewie's in the garden. I know. I have no idea what he's doing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and see ya. Bye. I'm working on these two paintings sort of concurrently, so you can see they're the same size. Um, with this one, I think it's sort of going to come together a bit more once I add more detail. I think I need a bit more contrast. I lightened this, but I think I might even need to lighten it a bit more, and I'm not sure what to do. Like with this red on the floor, I actually quite like it, and it's not really um, it's sort of providing the background, so I might make that a little bit, I don't know, brighter by putting down some darker paint and then painting over it with the red to make it a bit more opaque. And with this color, this seems to be, there's a lot of it, so sometimes I use stripy patterns to draw the eye up, which I think might work in this painting. Yeah, I'll see how I go. I'm always not sure at the end. It sort of feels like it just needs a little bit more detail to pull it all out and um, make it a bit more harmonious. In this one, I've made the horse a little bit larger. I don't know if you can see this white outline. So I'm going to block that in, and then I put some sort of hydrangeas. Are they hydrangeas? Anyway, they just with the purple, and obviously I think I've overdone it. So, but what did come out of it was just revealing that sort of pathway going around there. And yeah, I maybe think that's too much. So I might leave these bits in here um, and make this a little bit more detailed, because I think it creates a bit of contrast having, it gives me an opportunity to use different brush strokes. These ethereal beings, I think I'm going to pull them out a little bit more, make it a little bit more detailed, but not too much. I'm liking the pastel colors, which I think I'll leave. And again, the horse, maybe do just a little bit more detail on the horse. I don't know. I think I'm feeling a little bit discouraged today. I don't know. I feel a bit like I'm not sure where to go. It's like I don't want to ruin things, but at the same time, I think I just need to switch my brain off if I can. And I always tell myself this: just do 10 minutes and it just peck away at it, and that'll be okay. So I think that's what I'll do, because I'm procrastinating. I've got all these other projects that I'm wanting to start, and I've made the I guess I'm trying to discipline myself to get these into a finished state, because I keep thinking I've already got the frames for them, they're going to look great, so I'm kind of anxious to get them to a finished state as well. Anyway, there they are. Okay, so now I think this is finished. I think I always struggle to build sort of a sense of harmony when I'm wanting to use a lot of patterns. I was really inspired by Matisse and his use of patterns and how they can work together and they don't overwhelm. And so it's a real balancing act. So towards the end, I had a lot of busyness in this skirt or the dress that I pulled that out a little bit and painted over that. And I painted over the top just to make that a solid color. I felt like I needed some more solid colors in the arrangement, in the composition. And the rug was really hard because I felt like it needed something on the floor, but I had this mustardy yellow color. It was kind of vomity color. It was horrible, so I had to get rid of that. And I think it's working. But you know what? I'm prone to changing things. Anyway, I think I'm happy with that now. And what I did, I'll show you. Okay, I'm not very good at this. This is a sketchbook app on my Android tablet. I used to have an iPad, which I preferred to this one, but I basically just uploaded the photo and worked with I filled in the colors just to see what colors I'd like to change it to. And you can also do that by printing things out and then painting over, drawing on top of the printout. But when you get stuck, there's lots and lots of ways that you can get around it, and this for me has been one of them. Yeah, I've got a few little drawings on here which they're on my Instagram. I'm seriously very much a novice on this, but it's a good tool. Just showing you my finished painting with the horses. I haven't titled it yet. A title will come. I just wanted to show you sort of close up some of the details. These big canvases are very hard to show on a screen, on a small screen. I'm fairly happy with my horse. I think he's the right level of pigment, the right sort of tone. I'll just zoom out, show you the whole thing. Yeah, there he is. Well, there they are. I got these little A5 prints done, made up the other day, and I thought I would show you. I think it's a lovely size actually. It's a little bit bigger than a greeting card, and they come on textured paper. And that's really nicely. This is my sunflower queen. I got 2 of each. I'm really happy with that. That's come out really nice. The paper is not shiny. It's kind of like watercolor paper. It's beautiful. I'm very happy with that. Across there. This one's my wild goose. Really happy with these. And I can sign. I'm kind of reluctant to sign the front because my writing isn't very neat. So I think I'd sign the back and date them. 2 of those. Let's see. And my little sketchbook girl. That was done. These were all done with, apart from the first one, matte acrylics. So my Jo Sonias. This one is a drawing I did in my journal of my mum and an old painting of my mum. I mean, an old photo of my mum. And I was thinking I would give this to her for Mother's Day, and I just got 2 for good measure, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Hopefully she likes it. I think, yeah, I did another drawing, a painting in my sketchbook of my auntie, but it didn't turn out quite as good. So I'm really happy with this. I think I got a good likeness as well. Yeah, so there they are. Hopefully that's in shot well enough. Let's see if I can get it down a little bit. Yeah, that's in shot. So I'll show you this one first. This is just a brief, it's magazine size as you can see, but I've absolutely loved it. It gives the information about the artist as well, which it kind of helps you get inside his mind, I think, and yeah, so 1887 to 1985. So he lived to be quite old, and to me, that's pretty recent in the latter half of last century. And so he lived through two world wars, which is really significant. A lot of artists in that period were completely disillusioned, and um, he just sort of sunk deeper into his faith and um, depicting things and really depicting his dreams. And so, yeah. I just love that, how he's just sort of floating out the window. It's so beautiful. This sort of spotty, kind of hazy mark making reminds me a lot of Redon. So yeah, they talk about like a year in the life, which is always such a it gives a lot of clues as to what was going on, and really a lot of the things that he was dealing with. I feel like the world has sort of taken a turn it's quite similar to what it was 100 years ago in a way, because we've got so much war and turmoil. So this one, if we still got that in shot, this is called Journey on a Cloud, and these illustrations, sorry about the crows, these illustrations are just divine, honestly. And it just tells the story of a mailman who he fell asleep, and then he fell asleep on a cloud, and he goes through all these lands that are all different colors. So the cottages that Chagall usually paints, and I love that. He saw the clouds floating by, playing hide and seek with the setting sun, the rising moon. The longer Zephyr stared at the clouds, the more he saw them change their shapes, from a giant hen to a cello, or from a bearded billy goat to the Eiffel Tower. They're all things that are in Chagall's paintings. They're so whimsical, these pictures. I just really, really love them. I think who illustrated it? Um, Illustrations by Elise Mansot. They look like they've done with pastel, but I notice a lot of illustrators, children's books, illustrators tend to use a lot of mixed media. And I've watched a lot of channels of other artists, and I always get inspired to buy new art materials and try them out because, yeah, there's so much out there nowadays. So it kind of looks like maybe gouache and a bit of maybe pastel or something. It's so expansive, isn't it, that spread? You see that? rainforest. Wow. Oh, that's just stunning. I think, yeah, this sort of is the two strangers looked at each other in the eyes. And I think that's so true. Like Chagall's got this, that his paintings are very, very romantic. Beautiful. You see the detail here, all the leaves, the patterns. And that's a Marc Chagall. Isn't that beautiful? It's a little village at the bottom of the tree. Why do the figures in his pictures fly? It is said that love gives you wings, and all of Chagall's characters, lovers, musicians, clowns, animals, seem delighted to exist in their creator's poetic art. The spirit of this art had its roots in the Jewish Russian culture of Marc's hometown. There you go. I wanted to respond to a quote of Chagall, which really perplexed me. The quote is, "Art must be an expression of love or it is nothing." And I wanted to see what images and colours kind of came out of it. But also I realised that the quote seems like it's very black and white, like it's drawing a line in the sand and saying one thing is valuable and one thing is not. But I don't think that's where he's coming from. I don't think he's meaning that art has to be sort of rainbows and fairies and unicorns to be valid, or must be joyful to be valid. And you can see that from actually his art. He depicts harrowing scenes, but so it's quite the opposite. I think that out of love, we can plumb the depths of heartbreak and grief and, horror, really, with a sense of meaning and hope and a sense of being held, most importantly. And I think this is because I think he's thinking of it in the sense that God is love, and when we create from a place in love, we're creating from a place out of our true selves, because we exist and move and have our being in God. I think of Chagall as a real mystic in the sense that he's experiencing a sense of God, and he's experiencing that sense of God through his art. The opposite of love is fear, and fear is something that is turned inward, and when you try and find any depth and meaning in it, it unravels into nothing. And that's because, fear is about self-protection and building structures in our minds designed to protect us, but in fact they lead to more pain, because they isolate and, they cause us to become sort of smaller. And fear does not at all reflect our true nature, who we are. So love, I'm just thinking of 1 Corinthians here. It's unself-conscious, it's inclusive, it always thinks the best, it always hopes and perseveres. And when we operate from love, we're operating from our true selves, which is in love, because we exist in God. So when we operate out of our true selves, we can't help but to create out of this source of love. And this doesn't mean that what we create will be anything in the world's eyes. It doesn't mean we will have these kind of ethereal or sublime expressions. It just means that we are responding to life with our true hearts and our true thumbprint, our own individual way of using colour or making marks or painting angels, if that's what we want to do. It's an invitation to be ourselves. George MacDonald has a wonderful essay on the imagination, and it's helped me to understand this just with a little bit more clarity. And he says that we live and move and have our being inside the imagination of God, which I guess is another way of understanding the love of God and the heart of God, another aspect, if you like, and that the imagination of God is manifest in God's creation, which are the forms. So everything we see, hear, touch, taste, all of the sensorium, and the meaning is already contained within the forms. And our imagination is the lamp which illuminates the forms. And C.S. Lewis was very inspired by George MacDonald. Just think of the lamp in Narnia when they came into that magical realm, the lamp that lights the imagination. And I thought, how do dreams factor into this, especially based on the idea that we exist, or our true selves exist inside the imagination and the heart of God. And I felt like, or I thought that since the true imagination is unself-conscious, which is a massive thing really, there is every reason to believe that our dreams come from a deep place in our soul, which is in God. In our daylight hours, we are sort of mostly unaware and operating on like a different frequency. So I guess you could say we have a greater receptivity to the imagination in our dream world. But I also think that our imagination and the dream world coexist and they overlap. Like Alice in Wonderland, you're not really sure at what point she enters the dream world. I'll leave you with another quote from Chagall, which beautifully illustrates the idea of bringing our true, authentic selves into the world. In this quote, he is describing the stained glass windows he created later in his career. They're called peace windows. And he says, "For me, a stained glass window is a transparent partition between my heart and the heart of the world." And so I really just hope that we can all be encouraged to be our true selves and be authentic in the world. And yeah, there's a real freedom in knowing that our true nature is love and that we can just relax and be ourselves. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rambles. And thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like the video, and I hope this gave some sort of encouragement or food for thought, I guess. And I always, as I said before, I always just really value comments and ideas, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless. Bye.